Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek TV, and I'm sitting down once again with Sean Brown. Was this game number 5 in last?
Yes.
Yes.
Game number 5.
Game number 5. Lucky number 5. And this time we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, 7, 8.
Yes! All right. This is why Sean and I should not do videos after 10. We are now looking at Defenders of the Realm. Battlefields, thank you. I was going to say the self-standing game. But, yeah, I mistakenly thought this box was an expansion. I was wrong.
Right, this is a standalone game set in the Defenders of the Realm universe by Richard Launius.
All right. And before we dive into some explanation, how many players and how long does it take?
2 to 4 players, and the short game can be as short as 15 minutes, and the long game can run 30 to 40 minutes.
So in the grand scheme of things?
I'd say probably on average 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look.
All right, so in Defenders of the Realm Battlefields, we are trying to fight over, if you've played Defenders of the Realm before, there are locations on the board that characters used to move to. And so what we've done here is we've kind of zoomed in on the individual battles that happened as opposed to the global picture that we were looking at before. And Richard really wanted to give everybody the opportunity to play as the bad guys. So I have pre-staged the game to let Beth play the forces of evil.
As it should
very
be.
Appropriate. And so that's how we're going to run this one. So right now we have these battlefields that are double-sided. So the minions will place their cards on this side of the battlefield, and the heroes will place them on this side of the battlefield. The goal of the game...
Is anyone else hearing Pat Benatar in their head? Just me?
Love the battlefield. So it's also a component in Defenders of the Realm Battlefield. That plug? www.eaglegames.net. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do. To win the game, you have to take 3 of these battlefields, or 2 in the same color, which somehow, in our demo, we started out with 3 of the same color. Very, very interesting. Almost like it was planned. Anyway, so we're going to start out with 7 cards. And these cards are going to have numbers and colors that vary from 1 to 10. And they're going to have different abilities when they attack. And I'll go ahead and lead off. Each battlefield has a set of requirements that requires to play. If we were going to play in the Orc Valley, we would just need to make sure that we get a total of 35. Whichever side gets 35 points of cards down first is going to win. Over here in the Withered Hills, we need 4 cards to win, and they can only be green or blue, and they must be in descending order. And over here in the Pleasant Hills, we must have a pair of 1 card and a triplet of another. So I will go ahead and start us off by playing a 9 healer on the Withered Hills. So this meets the requirement of blue, and since it's the first number played, it meets the requirement of sequence. So I would play this card, and my turn is over as I draw another card.
I actually have a quick question before I play. So let's say this triplet and doublet here. Am I laying down both of those, or just over the course of laying down single cards, I must make them into pairs?
Just 1 card per turn.
All right. So I'm going to play a red 8 down here in Pleasant Hill, which is creating a pair and a set.
Excellent.
Fantastic. And then drawing.
So I'm going to play a card over here, and I'm playing the Captain of the Guard. So when the Captain of the Guard comes down, he has an attack, and it says he may attack the highest numbered minion in the current battle. Since there's only 1 minion, I only attack 1 minion. I take the 2 combat dice and roll, and I scored a hit. So because I scored a hit, we take your character and turn it to its side, and for purposes of winning this battlefield, it's as if this character never made it to the battlefield.
Aha.
So at this point, I would now draw a character card, and back to you.
All right. Now, even though my 8 here that has just been attacked momentarily does not exist, I'm going to play another 8, because this also has the similar type of attack power that I'm going to attack the highest number hero.
So what actually happens in this scenario is, since normally you can't play a duplicate card on a battlefield, you would actually discard this card to unstun this character, and then you would roll a die in this case 2 because you have 2, to see if you are unstunned. If you get a sword, you're unstunned.
All right, I got the
Now,
devil sword.
you may make an attack.
All right, which I will indeed, and I gain a hit.
Gain a hit. And I look at my character to see if I have any special abilities, which I do not, and I stun my character. You would be able to draw a card.
All right.
And it would be my turn. Now, you'll also note you have a special card here.
I do, which says Battle Luck, that I get to re-roll battle dice from an initial attack.
So that's an instant. That could happen anytime during your turn, or it could happen during my turn. So if I were, say, to play a card that were stopping you from winning something, you could play that out of sequence to stop me from making that roll. So it's a very powerful card. And another card that you have that's very, very diverse is a wild card.
Yes, which has a W on it instead of a value number at the top.
So it has no value for counting on a place like Orc Valley, which has a numeric value, but it also has no color nor sequence, so it can be played on these areas to meet a requirement where you might not normally be able to do so. So that gives you a pretty good idea. So one other thing you can do during your turn is you could take one of your generals and bring them out to a battle. Now, a general works a little bit differently than the standard minions and heroes in that they don't actually go on the side they're played. They go above the battlefield where they're playing, and they kind of oversee things. And they have these little special abilities, and you get these little gems to correspond with these abilities. And you put them on the card, and anytime appropriate, I can spend actions from him to kind of interrupt things and help strategically do things, but only on the Withered Hills. So a move like that might mean that I'm going very, very aggressive to try to win the Withered Hills. And then in this case, I would not draw up a card, and it would be best turn again.
Now, also a quick question. I'm guessing there might be a limit. There is a icon up here at the top that we haven't discussed.
So this icon is once a battlefield is actually won, you're going to be able to take this into your hand. And this icon means that that's how many cards you're going to get a draw to choose from. So this is a very, very difficult battlefield, and it has a very, very good reward. So your choices are going to be very limited. You basically get a draw, and you draw what you're dealt. Whereas the Withered Hills maybe doesn't have as good of a reward as some of the others, but you'll get to draw 3 battlefields, and you will get to choose which one comes out next. So when we're playing a short skirmish like this, if I were to draw a red, and maybe draw my 3 cards, then maybe it would be in my best interest to play another red that I was strong in suit.
Now, what determines the end of the game and the win?
The end of the game is the first person to get in the short skirmish would be 3 battlefields or 2 of the same color.
So hence that's why we have a variable amount of time depending on how long that can yo-yo back and forth.
Absolutely.
Now I'm guessing, is this a 2-player only game, or can you work in teams? Can you work?
Well, the game's designed to be 2 to 4, so in a 2-player game, it's going to be the good guys versus the bad guys. In a 3-player, you're going to have 2 people playing as one side or the other, and they'll alternate turns, and one player will play as either the minions or the heroes. So it'll alternate. So if you were the minion and Lincoln and I were here as a pair for the heroes, you would take a turn, I would take a turn, you would take a turn, Lincoln would take a turn, you would take a turn, I would take a turn. And then also you can play in 4-player, which is 2 heroes and 2 minions, alternating turns.
All right, well, this looks really exciting. When is this anticipated to make it out into retail?
We anticipate this will be out, we hope, in Q4.
All right. You're going to have a busy end of the year this year, sounds like.
Fingers crossed. Hoping all containers make it across icy waters and all games arrive safely, yes.
Yes, we do not want sunken board games, the board game. Well, thank you again, Sean.
Thank you very much.
And have a fun time at the rest of the gathering.
I will. It's time to go eat pizza.